I take the bus to and from work, and it's quite a long commute. I have epilepsy. I have a seizure alert dog, and he comes with me on the bus. Because he's trained to do all kinds of support tasks, he's a large breed dog, sheepdog and poodle cross. I've had a lot of seizures on the bus, so I have a hard time mentally dealing with the commute every day. To accommodate his size and to make me comfortable, I sit in the disability seating section if it's available, so he can lay beneath or between my legs and out of the way. Now on to the story. I'm on the bus ride home, and I found a seat in the disability section. I was about 2 stops from my home, and I was starting to have a few auras, so my dog turned around and was facing and alerting me. The next thing I know, I see a flash. I look up, and a man sitting near me was holding up his phone and taking a picture of me. I was in a bit of a rough state, so I asked him to delete it. I was probably firmer than I usually would be, but my dog was alerting me, and I had about 15 minutes to get home. The man was stuttering and saying things like I just wanted a picture, he was being so cute, and I saw his ID badge, he has one attached to his vest, that says seizure alert dog. I asked him again to delete the pic, and then he goes my daughter has epilepsy, and it would be important to her to see a working seizure alert dog. I told him there were plenty of resources online, and made him show me that he deleted it. I was then at my stop and ran home. I felt bad, because I do epilepsy activism work, so I felt for him, but I was really uncomfortable with someone taking a picture of me, while my seizure alert dog in the disability section just felt wrong. While I don't have exclusive photosensitive epilepsy, flashing lights make my auras worse. If he had asked me, I would have gotten out of the way and let him take a picture of my dog, but he just took a photo without my permission. Should I have just let him keep the picture? Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, and his excuse is that his daughter has epilepsy. He should know that a flash can be a trigger, and it's a 21st century, he can Google a picture to show his daughter. If she is young enough that it is important to show her working dogs, making it sound like the child isn't very old, then she is young enough that I couldn't get a picture because he was working with his person, but here is a picture of others in life that I found online would be sufficient. I think this entire story can be summed up by don't take a photo of someone without asking first, unless they just happen to be in the background in a public place. Not the idiot. I hate this increasingly pervasive idea that snapshotting a complete stranger isn't stupid just because it's legal. That just because you had the gall to walk outside, you're a prick for not wanting some random to take you or your child's picture. My sister has a unique feature, and many times throughout her life, people have felt completely entitled to a picture of her. When she's on the bus, when she's walking down the street, when she's leaning against the wall of an airport. She'll be minding her own business, then someone takes a picture. Yes, people. We all know it's legal. But unless you're a photojournalist covering an event, you're still an idiot for not asking first. No idiots here. The idea of someone taking a photo of you without your consent's stupid, but the intention here was clearly that he was focused on the dog, not you. I totally understand you feeling uncomfortable with this, and the discomfort came from the fact the flash was on, so you knew what he was doing. But I also totally get that he didn't mean any harm to you and wasn't trying to photograph you for really dodgy reasons. He just thought your dog was awesome and wanted to show his daughter, look at this awesome working dog I saw helping his human today. It's an awkward and uncomfortable situation, and you're within your rights to say I don't like that you did that, please delete it. I've been with my girlfriend for nearly 2 years. I'm 48, she's 49, and she has a 19-year-old daughter. I began living with them all pretty early on, only 6 months in. I learned relatively quickly, it's a rough household. My girlfriend is exceedingly controlling of her daughter. Not allowed out, not allowed to have a job, not allowed a cell phone. She doesn't protest, because she can't go anywhere else. It's either live by mommy's rules or be homeless, to be frank. There's no abuse other than mental and emotional, just so I'm clear. She's all peachy keen when my son, 17, comes over, it's like she's a different person. She's a good stepmom to my son, but an abysmal mother to her own. I kind of took a passive approach to this. I didn't interfere, because she's not my child. She wasn't too friendly with me early on, but she's grown to like me enough to open up about these things. At this point, 2 years in, we're very close. She even calls me dad, which struck me as odd, but she never had any father in her life, at least not this long. I think the turning point for me was when we decided to bring a puppy into the home. I grew up with lapdogs who roamed free throughout the house, but she decided this dog would stay in a cage for about 20 hours a day and only let out to eat and mess outside. Despite my protests and attempts to let her roam free, my girlfriend eventually put a key lock on her cage. We became very distant after this. The daughter proposed to me that we all leave this relationship. She's an adult and wants to make this decision to flee her mother. She wanted my help because she can't otherwise. I was going to leave my girlfriend anyways over the treatment of the dog. I can afford a good 3-bedroom apartment, easy, so a +1 person I think could be a good idea. This could also be her only way of escape. My plan was to have an apartment with my son and dog, but the addition of stepdaughter wouldn't hurt. Am I the idiot for effectively stealing away my girlfriend's daughter to live with me? This is a really sticky situation, not the idiot. You're not the jerk for breaking up with her over how she treats animals. You're an adult and can break up with someone if you want to. The daughter is well within her rights to leave home at the age of 19, whether she's crashing on a couch or sharing an apartment with you. You didn't say who actually paid for the dog, but I have no beef with taking a dog away from someone who's a crappy owner. The lock on the cage is the clincher for me. So I'm with you on this one. If the daughter wants out and needs help, and you feel comfortable helping her, go for it. You're not the idiot, but this child is desperately going to need counseling. I know she's 19, but emotional and mental abuse stunts one's mental development. To be frank, please don't let the fear of dealing with a recently freed teen deter you from helping her, but also do some reading and research before you take the leap, so you have an idea of what the heck she will go through separating from her abuser. It's going to take patience and determination on your part to get through it. And thank you for being such a kind and caring person toward two beings suffering at the hands of a toxic personality. The world needs more like you. Not the idiot. First of all, this women-controlling tendency just hasn't reached you and your son yet because she knows you can easily leave still. The dog and your stepdaughter are being treated the way you would eventually be treated if you stayed. Helping someone out of an abusive situation is never a jerk move. I would just be careful about giving her too much freedom too quickly. Could be a shock to the system, and she may blow it up. Have that conversation with your stepdaughter. The fact that you are contemplating taking her under your wing makes you a good guy, but do so cautiously and with clear expectations of responsibility and contribution to your new household. My mother and I became estranged when I was 14 because she revealed that my dad was not my biological father, his, now, estranged brother was, and she expected me to see my dad's estranged brother as my dad and forget all about him. My mother and he had an 18-year-long affair that came out roughly the same time to my dad and me. We did a DNA test. I hoped so hard that my dad would turn out to be my biological father, but he wasn't. I did stay with him though. My dad and I fought long and hard for that. And I have never forgiven my mother. I have no relationship with her because of her actions. She actually thought her husband was more of a father, more deserving of my love, when my dad has done everything for me since I was born. She has mocked my dad and acted like all the wonderful and loving things he did for both of us were somehow bad. I got married in June. It was me and my husband, my dad, his grandparents, my best friend and my husband's best friend. COVID is the reason we gave, but we always planned to elope. We actually wanted to have a location beach wedding, but those plans did not work out. Word got around, and my mother found out sometime in September, and she started trying to contact me on social media using fake accounts until I stopped allowing non-friends to communicate with me. Then she showed up the other week at my house to tell me how hurt she and my father were that they were not included and he did not get to be father of the bride. She said she expected more from me. And I lost it. I told her she had no right to expect anything from me, neither of them did. I told her she was a crazy mother and a crazy person, and that she destroyed me and never cared. She argued that I never gave my real dad a chance. I told her to leave, but she continued to argue, so I told her I would call the police if she did not go, and I never wanted to see or hear anything from her or her husband again, that they are both dead to me. A few days ago, a cousin on my mother's side reached out to tell me how much I hurt her, and how wrong I was for saying all those things when she came to try and make our relationship better. I don't really think I'm wrong in how I handled it all. But I am open to hearing otherwise. Not the idiot. She didn't come to your house to make things better, she came to berate you, and make you feel bad for not including her and her husband. That's not better, that's let me win the argument I've been having with you for years. If she and the donor had done things differently, then sure, they could have hoped for a different outcome. But they didn't, they decided to upend your life, trample over your feelings, and then blame you when it didn't work out how they wanted. That is entirely on them, not you. Your mom sounds like a real jerk, I'm sorry you got dealt with people like that. Not the idiot. Your mother have literally been dishonest since day one, when she married your father. You definitely need to cut ties with your mother and uncle, because neither of them seemed to care about you at all, since they knew you loved your real father, but wanted to hurt him even further, by trying to get custody of you, and leaving him alone, and force you to accept some man you probably weren't close with for real. Your father continued to raise you despite the betrayal of his wife and brother. But then they have the straight-up audacity to feel hurt and betrayed when you didn't invite them to your wedding. It takes more than a DNA test to be a father. She was not wrong to tell you the truth. She was very wrong to try to rip you from your dad, the one you are bonded to and raised you. I would call him the birth certificate father, as opposed to a real father. You are right about who your dad is. I'm curious, how was your relationship with uncle before all this came out? In any case, I am so very sorry you are having to deal with this. I know from experience how shattering it is to find these things out, and I cannot imagine having to deal with it at such a young, formative time. If your mother is upset at not being at your wedding, she can look in the mirror to see who she has to blame for that. I, 22, live with my best friend Brooke, 23, in a 2-bedroom apartment. Brooke owns the apt, but I pay her rent and utilities to live in the spare bedroom. Brooke is a huge health and fitness nut. She goes to the gym for hours almost every day and only ever eats healthy food and counts every calorie. I love how motivated she is, but I'm not really suited to that lifestyle. I exercise a few times a week and try to eat nutritiously and am generally fit, but I suffer from depression, meaning I find it difficult to be as active and disciplined as her. When I moved in with Brooke, she made it clear that she wanted me to adopt her lifestyle. She hates sweets, fried food, etc. and didn't want them in the apartment. This was going well at first, but with so much going on in my life and my depression worsening, I found it hard to keep up with her regimen. She started counting my calories along with hers and criticizing my eating. I developed major body image issues. Every time I told her it made me uncomfortable, she insisted that she was only looking out for me. This is where the depression cakes come in. I love cake. It makes me feel better when I'm depressed, so I'll occasionally buy a small one if I'm feeling rough. Knowing her feelings on junk food, I've been keeping my cakes in a small cooler under my bathroom sink. She uses a different bathroom. On my bad days, I lock my door and eat a slice. If she asks, I say I'm journaling, because I know she'll shame me for being unhealthy. A couple of days ago, she went into my bathroom to look for toilet paper rolls. That's when she found my latest depression cake. She confronted me about it, furious. Said I was ruining my health and throwing away the work she put in to help me. Most of all, she was angry that I lied to her and kept the cakes a secret, knowing they were banned in her apartment. I feel terrible for breaking her rules in her home, but also it's just cake, and I think it's unfair of her to tell me what to eat. She demanded I throw away what's left of the cake, which I did, but I'm genuinely confused if I'm at fault here. Am I the idiot? Is Brooke a health nut, or does she use her enthusiasm for fitness and healthy eating as a mask for an eating disorder? Because your post gives me an impression that it's the latter. If she can't live with having a few snack foods that aren't even hers in the house, then she's got a real problem. I think if food makes you angry, you probably have an unhealthy relationship with it. Not the idiot. I hope you can find a new roommate soon, because Brooke's behavior is very toxic and has already had a negative impact on you. People who are confident about and secure in their life choices don't shame others for theirs. Not the idiot at all. Honestly, from what I've read, it basically sounds like Brooke is so toxic that she's pushed you to the point of the beginning and very dangerous stages of an eating disorder. What she has done mentally to you is horrific. However, you absolutely need to set boundaries with her. Even if you decide to just move out, it would be incredible if you stood up for yourself and told her how you feel about the way that she speaks to you. You teach people how you want to be treated. She is not going to be the last person that you will come across in your life that is a bully. Learning to set healthy boundaries is extremely difficult, but so rewarding. Brooke has disordered eating and most likely suffers from an eating and body image disorder. She is trying to make you part of that because it would normalize her crazy behavior in her eyes. I had bulimia and anorexia for over 10 years, cycling between the two. This is very common behavior for us, to try to recruit others into our unhealthy obsessions. She has already gotten her hooks and bad ideas planted in your head. You need to get away as soon as possible before you get worse and practice self-care. I've seen girls go from perfectly healthy to obsessed and at death's door because of women like this instigating it. Be safe.